In F1 2019, you'll be invited to start your career by selecting a Formula 2 team. Driving for this team, you'll experience some key moments of a Formula 2 season, a thrill-packed racing championship in its own right, and the springboard to Formula 1. At the end of this feeder series, your choice of driver academy and your performance in F2 will determine the terms of the contracts offered by the teams as you embark upon your career in Formula 1 and begin to write your own chapter of motorsport history.
Kramer's new driver really commanding the race here. Devon Butler still ruthlessly giving chase. These two have been really scrapping it out for the early wins in the championship. And something's wrong. Butler sees his chance. Some kind of mechanical failure. Picking up speed again. It's unclear what the issue was. Can they still finish this race?
Looks like an issue with the turbo. You've lost some speed at the top end, but you're very close to the finish. You can still compete and get some points here. Don't give up. Just do the best you can. We're all behind you. Teammate is approaching and wants to get past. Repeat, Lucas wants to pass you. Again, your teammate wants to pass you. I know you don't want to drop a position, but without your turbo, he's the best one to challenge for points further up the field. If you hold Lucas up, you could be denying the team points. That's great. Lucas can push on now. Our gap behind is 3.0 seconds. That's great. Lucas can push on now. Lucas wants me to pass on his thanks. I know it's frustrating, but you made the right call for the team. Now we're all with you. Just bring it home as best you can. final lap of the race. Great job, really impressive. Finish. You stepped up and achieved what we asked. Good job.
A great win then for the Prema team today. Davide, what do you think made the difference here?
I think what won them the race was their ability to adapt. At every point, they delivered what was needed. They were calm and steady when they needed to be, but they were ruthless and aggressive when it was demanded of them. There wasn't anything out there that they weren't prepared to handle. Let's see if they can keep it up this season.
It looks like it's time for the victory ceremony once again, as I can see the drivers beginning to make their way out for the celebrations. You can see it on their faces. It's another marvellous team win for Prema today. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. The lead at the top has come down after a poor result for our points leader. And now, Davide Valsecchi, let me ask you, who is your driver of the day?
Well, after a drive like that, it's got to be Alessio Lorandi. Very clean, very smooth. He can be really pleased with that one.
On to the teams then. Prema move to the top of the table. Goodbye for now then, but we really are just getting started. Make sure you join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
There you are. That was an exciting race. It definitely got people talking about you, which means I was able to secure a quick interview.
Okay, we're all set over here.
Just a minute. Remember, anything you say to the press can go very, very public. So be relaxed, but also be conscious of what you're saying and how it might come across to other people, okay? I think we're ready.
Great. So Emma keeps telling me you're the one to watch this season. If that's true, you'll be doing plenty of these. Just remember, be yourself. And the more you can give me, the better this will go. Right, stand here. Turn a little this way for me. Perfect. Ready? An exciting race today. Let's get your perspective. So you and Lucas are new to the team. How are you settling in? Okay, so how did you feel about being ordered to give up the position to Lucas? Great. Well, that's everything.
Hey, look. I know that wasn't easy letting me pass, but it was the right choice. It was good driving.
Yeah, that's how I describe it, mate. Just good, not great. 1 in 6. 1 in 6 makes the leap to F1. The other 5 are still watching their less talented teammates collect all their points. Shame, really. A lot of great drivers never get their chance because they do it all for the team.
Those teams got us here.
Yeah, but it's the drivers that take the risk. We should get the rewards. You ever won a race in F1? That's how winners think.
And remind me, how many F1 races have you won?
You watch this space. At the end of this championship, I'll be the one lifting the trophy, and I won't use my teammates to nick the podium.
Okay, I'm out. You believe what you want, Devon, but it's still early days.
He's either very clever or you're just a pushover. You really think if the situation was reversed, he'd do the same for you? You want to start looking out for yourself. No one else will.
Look at them go! Devon Butler locked in wheel-to-wheel racing with his championship rival, desperate to shut them down and stop them getting past. And there's contact. Butler simply left them nowhere to go. There was just no way for them to have avoided that. And look, there's significant damage. Not sure if that was down to recklessness or sheer aggression, but I'm sure the stewards are going to have something to say very shortly.
Don't give up. You're still in this race. Stewards have awarded Devon a penalty. Push on. You can still catch him. You can still beat him. Devon is in the pits. Devon in the pits. Currently in 6th place, P6. Butler is ahead of you. Nice move. Good job. Devon's P7 at the moment. Okay, good work. Great pass. Devon's currently in 6th place, P6. Okay, you're in the top 10. Devon's currently in 6th place, P6. Devon's currently in 6th place, P6. This is your final lap of the race. Devon's currently in 6th place, P6. stepped up and achieved what we asked. Good job.
Great effort there from Prema to take the victory today. So, Davide, what did you make of that?
Well, it was a bit of a roller coaster, I think. There will be a lot of cheering for today's winner. Frankly, I'm amazed that Devon Butler only received a penalty for that collision. But watching the rival he knocked out actually come back and beat him, that made this whole race worthwhile for me.
As we look back on a thrilling race here today, we can now see the drivers take their places on the podium. It's a familiar sight by now, as it's another successful F2 win for Prema. After this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. It was not the best weekend for our championship leader, and their advantage at the top has been reduced. Now then, Davide Valsecchi, who would you say was your driver of the day?
I have to give it to Lando Norris. One of the best things about Formula 2 is watching these young drivers grow and mature, and it feels like his career took a big step forward today.
And now a look at the team standings. Carlin have extended their lead at the top of the standings. There was also a strong showing from the Russian time team today as they make their way up the standings. Goodbye for now then, but we really are just getting started. Make sure you join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
Good day today. Let's have your take on it. Well, that was a great recovery today. Did you think it was all over when you had the collision with Devon? So did you ever think you'd get the place back from Devon? I've seen that you and Lucas have been picking up a lot of points recently. What do you think of your championship chances? Appreciate your time.
I was looking for you. Well, what can I say? I guess there's no other way to put this, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry for ever giving you the common respect that all racers deserve, because you don't deserve it, neither of you do. That was the dirtiest driving I've ever seen.
Ridiculous.
My thoughts exactly. I'm taking my line and I get smashed into? I'm fine, by the way, thanks for asking. And then I'm penalized for the privilege.
You're unbelievable. You deserved every second of that penalty, maybe more. I mean, aside from trashing the car, did you ever stop to think that maybe someone could get hurt?
Yeah. Me?
Fine, but winning at any cost is your strategy, not ours. You better watch yourself.
Whatever.
Don't let him get in your head. He knows you're a better driver. So, on the track, stay away from him. He will try to force you into contact. That's how he wins, yeah? Let's get ready for the press briefing.
So here we are in Abu Dhabi. Each and every event in the Formula 2 calendar has led us here to this, the final event of the championship, and one that promises to be a spectacle every bit as exciting as we might have hoped. So the Yas Island circuit offers 21 corners and a lap distance of around 3.4 miles. There are a few opportunities to pass with long straights and DRS zones in 2 places, turns 8 and 11. Plenty of close racing then, plenty of speed, and plenty of excitement for the fans, no doubt. Joining me for one last time here this year is Davide Valsecchi. Davide, I'm glad you're here, because I think I'm going to need help processing all this. Surely, this is as exciting as it gets.
Yeah, you're right, Alex. It's the perfect finale. Two drivers, rivals of season, now going into the final race tied on points. Both way out in front at the top of the standings. Meaning whichever of these two drivers cross the line first will be crowned champion. I can't wait.
Okay, this is it. Last race of the season. All you have to do is finish in the points ahead of Devon, and the next time we see each other, you'll be the F2 World Champion. No pressure then. Good luck. Devon's in P4 at the moment. Currently P2. That brings you up a place. Start. Good job. Devon is coming in for a stop. seconds. As things stand, we'll be leading the championship. This is your final lap of the race. You stepped up and achieved what we asked. Good job.
It's been my privilege over the years to witness a number of great sporting events, and here's another to add to that prestigious list. It's the ultimate dream for any racing driver. We have a new Formula 2 world champion. So another excellent win from Prema. Talk to me, Davide. Was it everything you hoped for?
Everything and more. He had it all. The rival, the tension, the excitement. These two drivers have been locked in fierce competition all season. And to see it comes down to head-to-head battle for the line like this, well, this kind of things doesn't happen very often. Devon put in a good performance throughout the championship, but today the accolade goes to his rival and the new Formula 2 champion.
That result also seals the Formula 2 World Championship title. Congratulations to our winner after an incredible season. There's been a lead change at the top of the championship after a superb performance. And so, driver of the day then, Davide Valsecchi, Who do you think you'd go for?
It's a difficult call, but I'm going to give it to the Prema driver. That was a commanding performance today. Very impressive indeed.
So then, after today's event, Prema have claimed the team's championship. And after all that excitement, I think it's time for a lie down. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you when Formula 2 returns.
First of all, congratulations. You must be thrilled. Wow, you're the driver's champion. How does it feel? So that was a thrilling end to the season. How was the race for you? Wow, we've been hearing rumours of a possible future for you in Formula One. Care to comment? Great. Well, that's everything.
Congratulations, mate. F2 champion.
Hey, congratulations. Enjoy it, because it's the last time it'll ever happen.
Devon, it's okay to be upset. You came very close.
Yeah, we know things would have turned out very differently if I didn't get slapped with that ridiculous penalty.
What is it with you and complaining?
Look, somehow you managed to do a lot of things right today. That's great. You needed the win, I didn't. For me, this was always just a stepping stone to F1. Oh, you two. You got your work cut out for you now that I'm gone. See, you're going to have to prove to everyone it was more than just luck that got you here.
Sure. Winning one race is luck. Winning the championship is talent.
Really? Next time you use that incredible talent to ram into someone and steal all their points, remember they won't be as forgiving as I am. Well, this has been a lot of fun. I gotta run. Yeah, things to sign, important paperwork and all that. I'm sure you understand. Ciao!
So, with this big win, you're going to be getting a lot of interest. All I can say is choose wisely, or else you might end up with someone like Devon as your teammate. Come on, let's go celebrate.
Ah, welcome. Come on in. Take a seat. It's time we had the big conversation about your next move. Your performance at the F2 Championships last year got you a lot of attention from the Formula One teams. Some of it more positive than others. I'm not so concerned with who does or doesn't like you. You'll have plenty of time to win the doubters over. But I am concerned with our choices. They're narrowing as we haven't shown commitment to anyone. Now, as your agent, my advice is to make your decision now. We can worry about comfort and finer points further down the line. I need you to review these. You've earned every single one of these proposals. So take your time, have a read through, and don't get too hung up on specifics. Let's get you a Formula One seat. Excellent choice. From my conversations with them, they're going to be very excited to pursue this opportunity with you. I'll let them know our intentions immediately. I'll have to clean up some final details with them, but that's what you pay me for. Other than that, congratulations. You've earned it.
hey, you're here. I'll catch up with you. Okay. Sorry, I'm just on my way out, but your workstation's at the back over there. It should be all set up on the network, but let the guys know if it isn't. From there, you can access all the data you need to help us direct development of the car. Get yourself settled, and then head out to practice when you're ready. I'll catch up with you later, okay?
Welcome to your new team. There's no one with a more storied history than Ferrari. You're going to have to give it everything to live up to that heritage. It's going to be hard work, but when you see the Tifosi cheering you at Monza, it'll all be worth it. Winning rivalries is a great way to earn respect from your team and around the paddock, which will help make it easier to negotiate favourable contracts. Your first rival is always your teammate, but you can choose who to declare as your second. The harder the rival from the eligible selection, the more respect you stand to gain or lose depending on the result.
Welcome to Melbourne and the inaugural event of the F1 2019 Championship season. The session is starting shortly and there's a real sense of anticipation in the air. A feeling that anything can happen this year, and if it does, well, this weekend could be the opening chapter to one of the most exciting F1 seasons ever. Joining me in the commentary box is, of course, Anthony Davidson. And it's great to have you back again. What can you tell us about this year's roster? There are some new faces this year, aren't there?
Absolutely, Crofty. There's been a number of interesting signings over the last few months. Where would you like to start?
Let's talk about Mia.
Right, well, this is definitely someone to keep an eye on. Well, they've been signed up likely in no small part due to the way they carried themselves in the Formula 2 Championship. They have a great track record of putting the team first. At one of the races, they even gave up their own position when their car had a technical issue, so that their teammate Lucas Weber, who also debuts here today, could get ahead. That kind of team spirit could take them a long way this season.
Those two aren't the only new faces from Formula 2 this season, are they?
No, this season will introduce fans to George Russell and Lando Norris, two very promising young British drivers. Plus, we'll meet Alexander Albon from Thailand, and finally, Devon Butler. Now, Devon was a bit of a controversial figure in Formula 2 last year. He racked up a lot of penalties over the course of the season, including one where he collided with his closest rival. It was an arsey clip. Now, certainly after the event, they were nothing but professional in terms of how they spoke about the incident with Devon, but it's hard to imagine them being as polite about it behind closed doors. I think this rival will be one to keep an eye on over the next few races, as both drivers take their first steps into the world of Formula 1.
This first race of the season is always quite difficult for us trackside, and for those back at the factory as well, as it's the first time the car has run since winter testing. The more consistent mileage you can get in these sessions, the happier we'll be.
In the unforgiving world of Formula 1, free practice sessions are a vital part of any Grand Prix weekend.
When you get a chance, make sure to run some of our practice programs. They don't all need to be done in one session, but there's valuable data there to help race strategy and car development. testing fuel management here, so try to lift and coast going into the corners. Don't be too aggressive on the power, but remember, you still have to beat the minimum lap time. That puts you at the top of the table. If you want to know specific information or make certain changes to the car during a pit stop, you can program, we're looking at ERS management. This is all about managing your battery efficiently through the lap to hit your target time. The ERS deployment settings can be adjusted on the MFD. I know it's tempting to focus entirely on the race, but we should put a bit of time aside to run the qualifying sim program. This is a quali sim. We've estimated the times our closest rivals will be doing, so that's what we need to beat. Information out of that. To run a lower fuel mixture whilst we're in practice, save the engine for qualifying in the race. The car settings screen on your multi-function display will allow you to change various settings as you drive. Open the display with the MFD button. You can then navigate up and down to the setting you want to change. So far, our fastest lap is a 1 minute 26.8. There's 3 laps of fuel remaining. top of the speed trap, 313.8 kilometers per hour. So, we'd like to run the acclimatization program if you have a chance before qualifying. It'll give us a good indication of our relative pace and consistency. At the end of this session, we need to return 2 sets of tyres. We'll give back the 2 most worn sets, so we may as well get the most out of them while we can. They won't be available for the rest of the weekend, though, so don't run too hard on anything you might need later on. Okay, here's something to remember about this circuit. The most important braking zone is probably the penultimate corner, T15. It's a very tight left-hander. You will understeer if you take liberties with it, so be careful. We're top of the speed trap, 313.8 kilometers per hour. We're top of the speed trap, 313.8 kilometers per hour. Our best lap so far is a 1:26.8. To view information on your current levels of tyre wear and damage, press the MFD button to open the multifunction display, and then again to cycle to the tyres and damage screen. We're top of the speed trap, 313.8 kilometers per hour. Now, we've all done a lot of work for this circuit on the simulator, but nothing beats real data. Bear in mind the car's capability changes based on track conditions, so your reference points may not always be in the same place. We're top of the speed trap, 313.8 kilometers per hour.
The session has drawn to a close, so let's review our top three. Mia, Leclerc and Lucas Faber. And that's it, practice is officially over. Until next time, goodbye.
amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. It's been a lot of hard work, but here you are making your debut in Formula One. You must be thrilled. So how are you finding things at the team? Are you settling in? What are you expecting out of this season? Are you just aiming to find your feet in Formula One, or do you see something more? Appreciate your time.
We're just about ready to kick off today's qualifying here in Melbourne. It's the Australian Grand Prix. The competition is certainly heating up as we head into today's qualifying. Some impressive times showing up during the previous practice sessions. Anthony Davidson, do you think we can expect a similar level of skill to be showcased during today's qualifier?
Well, I certainly hope so. The competition here is extremely tight, and I think we might see some very close times today. Remember, practice isn't just about fastest lap times, though. It's about optimisation, it's about ratifying your decisions. No one's going to be sweating small mistakes here and there, but in qualifying, that all changes. You need to nail that perfect lap or face the consequences, and believe me, that's a lot of pressure.
job, mate. Really well done. That was a fantastic drive.
With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves of our top three: Mir, Weber and Lewis Hamilton. Goodbye for now then, but we're really just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
Good day today. Let's have your take on it.
It's been a great qualifying session for you. A superb qualifying performance from your old... How does it feel to be on the front of the grid with your...
Great. Well, that's everything.
Well done. Very solid result. You're looking good for the race.
I recommend we could go for something like this.
New drivers, new cars, it's a new Formula One season. But it's the same Albert Park that we've come to know and love for more than 2 decades now that plays host to round one of a 21-race championship that takes us from here in Australia across the globe and the eventual season finale at the Yas Island circuit in Abu Dhabi. Just south of Melbourne's downtown business centre is the one and only Albert Park circuit. 3.3 miles of public roads, closed for the weekend of course, make for a bumpy circuit with little undulation. There are 16 corners around the lake and a couple of good passing opportunities here as well, thanks in part to the DRS zones into turns 1, 3 and 13. We have plenty of changes to the sport this year with tweaks to the regulations, a fresh-looking spread of tyre compounds, and of course some changes to the roster of car manufacturers. It's goodbye to Sauber and hello once again to the classic name of Alfa Romeo in Formula One. It's also goodbye to Force India. They've been rebranded as Racing Point. Joining me to take you through all the action of the 2019 Formula One season is Anthony Davidson. And it's great to have you with us.
Thanks, Crofty. Always happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to getting underway. Last year was Mercedes' 5th Constructors' title in a row, although for the first half of the season it was absolutely neck and neck with the Ferraris. Hopefully this year we can see the chasing pack take that final step, as I'd love to see a championship contest all the way up to the final race in Abu Dhabi. Another story to keep an eye on is the performance of Red Bull, who have switched to the Honda power unit this year. What that will mean for both their performance and reliability remains to be seen.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Mir lines up on pole position, and starting alongside is Lucas Weber. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Leclerc, Max Verstappen and Butler, Norris, Magnussen, Perez and Kimi Raikkonen, Hülkenberg, Sainz, Romain Grosjean and Ricciardo, Kvyat, Giovinazzi, Pierre Gasly and Lance Stroll. Russell and Robert Kubica takes the last spot on the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
What a great way to start the season. Pole position. Now let's take the win. this lap, we can use DRS when you are within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone. back on target soon. Don't wait too long to turn the engine down. Gap to teammate behind is 5.9 seconds. Now, we're boxing this lap. Keep an eye on your distance to the speed limit line as you approach, and make sure you don't speed.
There's a huge amount of time to be won and lost in the pits, but ensure that you don't get too greedy as you approach the pit lane speed limit line. On the approach, you'll see a notification of the pit lane speed limit and your distance to the limit line. If you cross this threshold too fast, you'll be given a speeding penalty, so be careful. There are valuable tenths to be won by getting it right though, so leave your braking as late as you dare. At the pit exit, it's important not to cross onto the racetrack before reaching the end of the white pit exit line.
Go, exit now. We're racing on the exit. Release, release. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. drivers in for his stop. The gap to the car behind is 8.5 seconds. Are you okay? That was a big one. Confirm you're okay, please. Laps of fuel remaining. At the moment, the car behind us is lapping faster than us by around 1 second per lap. was the fastest lap of the race. Keep this up. There's 4 laps of fuel remaining. laps of fuel remaining. Is 5.5 seconds. This is your final lap of the race. There's only one lap of fuel remaining. Absolutely awesome. Just amazing. Well done.
Ferrari have really pulled it out of the bag today. It's a great win. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, I know it's a bit of a boring answer, but the truth is they simply had the best speed package on the day, and a driver who knows how to take advantage of that. It doesn't matter how much time you spend poring over the stats and planning strategies if you can't keep the pace, and our winner today showed they could do both.
Here come our winners now. A thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again. Let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. Mia takes over the lead of the Drivers' Championship. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
I'll probably go for Pierre Gasly. The team did a good job with the strategy to put him in amongst the pack, but it's the driver's job to capitalise on those opportunities, and he did so with a lot of skill.
Let's move on to the constructors. Ferrari take the lead at the top of the table. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Great work out there today. Let's have your thoughts. You took the top points today. Was it a comfortable win? You really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled. It wasn't the cleanest race today, was it? You had a close battle today, didn't you? Appreciate your time.
Just wanted to say congrats on the podium. It's thoroughly deserved. We were sweating those last few laps on the pit wall, but you brought it home.
Looks like one of your rivals has also been invited to a historical event. This could be a good opportunity to play up your rivalry for the press and expand your reputation. You're not the only driver to be hounded by the press. Emails, like the one I've just sent you, will give you an insight on how your former Formula 2 rivals are handling the press. Be sure to check your emails regularly, as I'll be sure to send you any of the more, let's say, interesting press transcripts that come my way.